So your question for me today is, what is my favorite non-romantic surprise? It's not fair. I'm sick. You give me a hard question. I have what the Vlogbrothers would refer to as tiny chicken disease. My nose has been running. I've been coughing. Diet Coke helps. Favorite non-romantic surprise. I'm having a hard time thinking of one. I think probably my favorite non-romantic surprise that I can think of is when I was a little kid. We moved to Oregon, and that was a surprise, and I didn't like that surprise at all. I was not thrilled to be moving to Oregon. I didn't want to leave my, friends and house that we lived in Millville. But my dad bought me, just before we left, bought us a Nintendo, which we didn't have growing up, and so I didn't. My neighbors had one, and it was so much fun. And so when we got ours, that was the thing that comes to mind the most. So I'm gonna have to think about this question some more and maybe add in another answer when I get older. But I would say that was probably my favorite surprise from my childhood. From my adult life, I didn't have a ton of surprises in college, no real awards or anything. I graduated early, and I had a professor who really liked me. One of my proudest moments is his recommendation letter to me. It wasn't really a surprise. I knew he liked me. I was a little surprised by my scholarship offer from William & Mary, and I was surprised by how much I loved Virginia. It was, I'm a western kid, a desert kid, and so to go to a mid-Atlantic state with just a totally different culture and climate and all of that, and I love Virginia, and so that was a surprise. But it wasn't a huge surprise, but I love Virginia. I still love Virginia. It's one of my very favorite places. Not too hot, not too cold. Rains a lot, but that means it's always super green, and my allergies are annoyed there, but not any worse than Utah. So I would say those are my two favorite surprises. When I was a kid, getting my Nintendo, particularly Mario 3, to go with it, and when I was an adult, my scholarship to William & Mary, and just how much I love being in Virginia. So there are my answers to your question. My question for you is, if you could live anywhere that you haven't lived already, where would it be? Let's limit it to places you can plausibly live. Let's exclude for the moment fantasy universes and other planets and things like that. But where on Earth, on our realistic Earth, if we found out we had the opportunity to go move someplace other than where we're at right now, where would you want to be? But it's got to be someplace you haven't lived before. So that excludes for me Utah, Oregon, Nevada, and Virginia. And I don't know if I would pick any place in the United States, but if I were picking someplace in the United States, it probably would be San Francisco. I love San Francisco. It was so much. There's so much to do there, and so many interesting things. I'm not a big city guy, but I really like just sort of the environment in San Francisco. It's so much culture and art and technology, all of that stuff I just love that. So if I were staying in the United States, that's probably where I would go. If I were leaving the United States, assuming I could figure out the language, I'd probably go to Rome. I don't know why. I have this sort of connection to Rome. I don't know where this came from. The Tofanellis love Italy. They're huge fans of Italy, and I've always agreed with them. Always thought of Rome as kind of my favorite European city. Even before that, Paris is kind of French and stuck up, and London is just English. The culture is too similar for me. It doesn't really feel that different. I don't know if there's a cool kind of smaller city in Japan, but that might also be up there. I really like Japan. I'd like to spend some time there, but not in Tokyo. Tokyo's too big, he says after he said he'd like to live in San Francisco, but Tokyo's too crowded, too big, it would be too much for me. San Francisco was almost that way, and we only spent a week there, so San Francisco's kind of right, that's about as crowded as I could handle, and it's pretty crowded. Those would be my three: San Francisco, Rome, or someplace in Japan that's not Tokyo. So you tell me, where would you want to live? And that's my last question. We'll see if we can get closer to back on schedule. We've been off schedule because I've been sick and we've had visitors, but we'll try and get back on our schedule. And I love you all. I'll see your video soon. Just forgot to turn the light on again. There we go.